you ever walked into a school cafeteria and smelled something you couldn't quite explain, you're not alone. For generations of kids, lunch wasn't just a meal, it was a daily ritual filled with metal trays, long tables, and food that felt very official. Some of it was comforting, some of it confusing, and some of it is almost impossible to imagine today. These lunches came from a different time, when nutrition rules were simple and budgets were tight. They tell stories about the era that made them. Today we're looking at 10 school lunch items from the past that kids today would never touch. 1. The famous meatloaf square. The meatloaf square was once the king of the lunch tray. It arrived perfectly shaped, like it had been cut with a ruler. Schools loved it because it was cheap, filling, and easy to cook in large batches. For many kids, it tasted better with ketchup than without it. The texture was dense, almost brick-like, but it kept you full all afternoon. It often came with mashed potatoes and a scoop of green beans. Some days it was surprisingly good, other days not so much. Meatloaf reflected post-war cooking habits that focused on stretching ingredients. It was meant to be practical, not exciting. Over time, kids began expecting fresher flavors and better textures. Nutrition standards also started to change. Processed meat became less popular in schools. Slowly, the meatloaf square disappeared from trays forever. 2. Liver and onions. Liver and onions was once considered a healthy, responsible lunch. Adults believed it built strength and provided important nutrients. The smell alone could fill the entire cafeteria. For many kids, that smell was unforgettable. The liver was dark, soft, and very strong in flavor. Onions were added to make it more appealing, but that didn't always help. Teachers encouraged kids to eat every bite. This meal reflected a time when wasting food was strongly discouraged. It also showed how adult tastes often shaped kids' menus. Over time, nutrition science moved on. Schools realized kids were simply not eating it. Plates came back untouched again and again. Eventually, liver disappeared from school menus. Today, it feels like a meal from another world. 3. Creamed chipped beef on toast. Creamed chipped beef was often served over white bread. Many people remember it by its nickname, though schools rarely used it officially. It was salty, creamy, and very filling. This dish came from military cooking traditions. It was designed to be cheap and fast to prepare. In schools, it was an easy way to serve protein. The sauce was thick and pale, covering everything underneath. Some kids loved it because it was warm and comforting. Others couldn't get past the look. It felt heavy, even at lunchtime. As tastes changed, this kind of food felt outdated. Parents wanted lighter meals for their children. Schools slowly removed it from rotation. Now it lives mostly in memories. 4. Salisbury steak with brown gravy. Salisbury steak looked fancy on paper. In reality, it was a thin meat patty covered in gravy. Schools liked it because it resembled a restaurant meal. The gravy helped keep the meat moist. It usually came with potatoes or rice. For some kids, it felt like a grown-up dinner. For others, it felt confusing and bland. This dish came from early nutrition ideas about balanced meals. It was meant to be hearty and satisfying. Over time, frozen versions became common. The quality slowly dropped. Kids began leaving it untouched. Health standards shifted away from heavy gravies. Eventually, Salisbury steak faded away. Today, it feels like something from an old TV dinner. 5. Fish sticks with tartar sauce. Fish sticks were a Friday tradition in many schools. They were crispy on the outside and soft inside. Schools liked them because they were easy to bake in large trays. They were often served with a small cup of tartar sauce. Some kids loved dipping them. Others avoided them completely. Fish Fridays came from religious and cultural traditions. It was a way to offer variety without meat. Over time, concerns about processed seafood grew. Kids also became more selective about fish. Fresh options replaced frozen sticks. The tartar sauce cups disappeared too. Today's lunches rarely include them. Fish sticks now feel like a frozen food memory. 6. Sloppy joes that lived up to the name. Old school sloppy joes were truly messy. The meat was loose, saucy, and hard to control. It often soaked through the bun. Napkins were never enough. Schools served them because kids generally liked the taste. They were cheap and filling. The recipe was simple and forgiving. Some days it was sweet, other days more savory. Eating it required patience and balance. As lunchrooms became cleaner and more structured, messy foods lost favor. Parents worried about stains and waste. Portions became smaller and neater. Sloppy Joes slowly changed or vanished. The original version lives on in memory. 7. Jell-O with suspended fruit. Jell-O with fruit was once considered a fun dessert. Bright colors filled small plastic cups. Inside, pieces of fruit floated like time capsules. Schools loved it because it was inexpensive and popular. It added color to the lunch tray. Kids poked it with spoons before eating. Some loved the texture. Others found it strange. This dessert reflected mid-century food trends. Convenience and novelty mattered more than freshness. Over time, sugar concerns grew. Artificial colors fell out of favor. Fresh fruit became the preferred option. Jell-O slowly disappeared from cafeterias. Today, it feels like a party food, not a lunch item. 8. Peanut butter and honey sandwiches. Peanut butter and honey sandwiches were once a lunch staple. They were simple, sweet, and filling. Schools served them as an easy protein option. Honey added flavor without cooking. For many kids, it tasted like comfort. The bread was usually white and soft. This sandwich reflected a time before allergy awareness. Peanut allergies were not widely discussed then. As awareness grew, policies changed quickly. Schools removed peanut products for safety. The honey didn't matter anymore. The sandwich vanished almost overnight. Today it feels like a forgotten treat. 9. Canned fruit cocktail. Fruit cocktail came straight from a can. It included peaches, pears, grapes, and one cherry. The pieces sat in heavy syrup. Schools served it cold in small bowls. It was considered a healthy fruit serving. Kids often saved the cherry for last. The texture was soft and uniform. Fresh fruit was harder to store back then. Canned fruit was reliable and affordable. Over time, tastes changed. Syrupy sweetness felt excessive. Nutrition guidelines favored fresh produce. Canned fruit slowly lost its place. Now it feels like a pantry relic. 10. Milk in glass bottles. Milk once came in small glass bottles. They sat in metal crates near the lunch line. The cream sometimes floated at the top. Kids had to shake it before drinking. Schools believed milk built strong bones. Glass bottles felt sturdy and reusable. Sometimes they were very cold. Sometimes not. Accidents happened and bottles broke. Over time, safety concerns grew. Cardboard cartons replaced glass. Flavored milk became popular. The glass bottle disappeared. Today, it feels almost magical, like something from an old photograph. School lunches tell us more than what kids ate. They tell us how people lived, what they valued, and what they believed was important. Some of these meals were comforting, some were strange, and some were simply unforgettable. They remind us how much things change over time. If any of these lunches brought back a memory, let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed the trip down memory lane, and subscribe to American Rewind for more stories from the past.